and then dances to you. Ah, nice. Hey guys, BigTuna here, and today we have a add-on video. I probably should be doing this every season. I think that's what a responsible WoW content creator would do, but I'm not that. I do got to get better at actually being a good YouTuber. But yeah, we have an add-on video. Past couple weeks, we've been getting some questions about the add-ons I use, and instead of answering the same question over and over again, I just decided make an updated one. Haven't done this since last season, so I think it is pretty smart to do it right now. So we're gonna go over all our add-ons that we use. A lot of basic stuff that you see almost anyone and everybody use. I don't actually use a lot of add-ons. Many people, a lot of those good PvPers have lists that just go on and on and on. And it's kind of ridiculous. I don't use a lot of add-ons because my PC's trash. That's the main reason. That's what us common folk can relate to. So, going down the list, we have Dominoes. Dominoes is just an action bar add-on. Pretty standard. These add-ons have really lost their value. Dominoes, Bartender, they don't really have the same impact because Blizzard just has natural action bar settings to make your action bars, however the way you want them to. But yeah, we can see here, we can kind of move some stuff, Q status, the extra abilities that pop in certain zones. Your action bars can decide, whoa, I only want one skill, or I can have all 12 of the buttons available. So, some interesting stuff. The main reason why I use Dominoes still is because I have a mask add-on, and a mask add-on simply changes the skin of other button-related add-ons. So you see here, mask, these skins also affect BigDebuffs, Dominoes, and WeakAuras. So you see here why it's different from the standard Blizzard action bars. It's horrible. That nasty border, yeah, we have LVY hide empties, makes it look nice and clean. That's why I use Dominoes, so it can benefit off of my mask settings. It's literally the only reason why. So Dominoes, you don't really need it unless you have a mask add-on and you want to be like me and have a nice action bars. If not, then you don't really need the add-on. OmniCC, I don't even know. I would like to assume that Blizzard has finally has cooldown text for everything. If not, then that's just very sad. But until I'm confirmed otherwise, then I will keep OmniCC. I mean, hell, this is like the first add-on that anyone and everyone installed. It's pretty close to home. So until I'm confirmed that Blizzard actually has OmniCC baked into their basic Blizzard interface, then I will keep this in my back pocket. Advanced interface options simply brings back a lot of old interface options that used to be in the game. It's kind of ridiculous that a lot of add-ons that people have are not necessarily for certain PvP advantages. It's simply just a lot of quality of life stuff. Kind of shows you how far behind Blizzard is in terms of this stuff. Camera distance, cool. You can finally scroll through the chat once more rather than having to click the arrow. It's kind of ridiculous. Combat. Cast action keybinds on key down. Naturally, your spells activate on the press up. When you release the key, with this, your keys or your spells will activate on the press down. So for us losers, it seems faster to us. So that's why I had that setting enabled. Yeah, simply just a lot of older and newer interface options that we have access to. So pretty nice add-on. BattleGroundEnemies, pretty amazing. This is basically just enemy raid frames for Battlegrounds. To think there was a time where I played without this add-on during BFA, that's ridiculous. This add-on is absolutely incredible. So you see here, we basically just have enemy raid frames for Battlegrounds. It's really amazing when you really think about it. It's like, wow, I do arenas, and I really realize the importance of having good arena frames, and then going into BGs without any frames at all. Wow, that's kind of ridiculous. So Battleground Enemy comes in clutch. You can see the raid frames, their health, their mana, and whatnot. You can see their trinkets, the racial. You can see their, defensive cooldown right here. You can see their DRs, stun DRs, knock DRs, root DRs, in-cap DRs, all that good stuff, disarmor DRs. You can see who has the flag absolutely amazing. You want to put someone on set focus, you simply just right click whoever you want, and then boom, they will be put on your set focus. Absolutely amazing. I mean, this add-on is just absolutely incredible. You can customize whatever you want here in the settings. You can have it enabled for both allies and enemies, but I mean, I don't care for the allies because I already have my, regular raid frames. So, but yeah, really good stuff here. Absolutely amazing. If you don't already have this, then you got to get it. If you're a battleground lover such as myself. BetterBlizzFrames, absolutely amazing. It is pretty taxing though, much like any other BetterBlizz add-on, but it's pretty amazing. So we go over here, check our I keep on always mixing it up. Like, keep on combining the entire word together. BetterBlizzFrames, BletterFrames. Like, it's ridiculous, I wonder how I passed English class. BetterBlizzFrames. You see we have a lot of customizations here. Ultimately, it's a lot of like nitpicky stuff, like hiding certain things or enabling certain customizations. But you come over here to like the target focus frames, you can hide what you want to hide, you can move them. Pretty amazing. But most of the main stuff comes from like the buffs and debuffs and what you want to track. You can blacklist, you can whitelist a lot of things. This is pretty taxing though, so I might honestly get rid of all this stuff because blacklisting and whitelisting is pretty taxing on for this add-on. But nonetheless, you can actually do a lot of stuff with your buffs, target buffs, frame buffs. What you want to see, what you don't want to see. Especially with this enlarge settings, you can enlarge certain buffs and debuffs on that target. So if they're important, they will be enlarged. Like for example, offensive cooldowns and defensive cooldowns to be enlarged much bigger compared to the other buffs and debuffs they might have on them. So you can see the important stuff. So if they have frenzied regen enraged regen, boom, they have the big defensive up. If they have avenging grass available, boom, it'll be much larger so you can see it. Pretty good stuff right there. Font and texture, you can change the how your unit frames and your raid frames look in terms of their health bar and mana bar texture. You want it to look like this, be dark with like a little bit of a gradient. Cool. I just like having a nice solid color. So yeah, really good add-on. Most importantly, it's the cast bars. So ultimately, I like having everything in the center of my screen. That's where I'm going to be looking at the most. So that's where I want to get all my information. I don't want to have to look too far to the right or to the left or bottom up to see the information I want to see. No, I want it to mostly be in the center of my screen. So you can actually move the cast bars, add some other stuff to it too. But you see here, I target myself, you see my cast bars up here. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Naturally, your cast bars are attached to the unit frame. This allows you to move those cast bars. So pretty amazing. Shows the skill, also shows my interrupt. I'll get into that later. But if I put someone on my set focus, like I guess myself, because no one here is doing the rotation, unfortunately. You can see this. I actually have my set focus cast bar in the middle of my screen. Usually, when it's attached to the unit frame, it's kind of harder to see, especially because it's offsetted. So I miss a lot of my focus interrupts. But now that the cast bar is in the front of my face, it's absolutely amazing. I can do anything. I can do a lot of those things I want, whether it's damage or whether I'm looking anywhere else. And I'm always going to see this cast bar going off. I don't even care what the skill is at that point if I'm looking somewhere else. I just know a skill is going off, and I can focus interrupt it. Boom. Absolutely amazing. And so when I am casting, or when that target is casting, you see there I have my interrupt showing, so I don't need a WeakAuras to track my interrupt. It will show on that cast bar. Really amazing. And when it's on cooldown, it'll show it's on cooldown. It'll also turn the bar red when my interrupt is on cooldown, as another way to show me that my interrupt is on cooldown. So, really nice add-on. A lot of customizations, you can go for it. I give it a nice big thumbs up. BigDebuffs, absolutely amazing. This has multiple uses. The main one is increasing the size of crowd control effects on your raid frames. Also your unit frames. So, if you see here, if I CC this Moss Pelt Ramolith, I hex this bozo, boom, turned it into a frog, it'll show up on the actual unit frame. Kind of awesome. But it doesn't just work for debuffs, it also works for buffs. So you see here, Ore Mastery, boom. You see here, it actually shows on my unit frame to have my Ore Mastery buff. Not only does it show my Ore Mastery buff, it also shows the Interrupt Immunity buff. So really nice. You see here, it's still going. Absolutely amazing. This won't track everything though. Like if I place an Ignition Totem, it won't track that. But if I press Grounding Totem, it'll track that. It only tracks the actual important stuff. But yes, this is debuffs and buffs. So for example, if I get feared by a priest or a warlock, it'll also take over my portrait. So really nice. In terms of your raid frames, this will enlarge CC effects on your raid frame, so you can see much easier when the target is under the effects of a crowd control or a certain debuff, like Sharpened Blade or other mortal wound type effects, or roots like a Frost Nova or silences and whatnot. Really amazing cooldown for a healer. Makes it much easier to see all the nasty things that are on my teammates. Without this add-on, everything would be so small, and it's honestly ridiculous how I played without this add-on. So, absolutely amazing add-on. Classic numbers. Literally just classic numbers. Just changes the floating combat text from the standard Blizzard to classic style numbers. The normal Blizzard numbers just kind of flop around. It's a little ugly, but with the classic numbers, they just kind of float up. Just like classic. Critical hits look nice and big. Yeah. Yeah. This guy's not gonna detarget me easy. Pretty nice add-on. Pretty nice add-on. Details, absolutely amazing. I mean, this has been World of Warcraft's best friend. This is the way to determine, what skills are making an impact. How to track your interrupts, how many interrupts you had that game, your dispels, how what you dispelled, your purges and your cleanses. Buff up time if you want to track a certain buff, be it a racial or a trinket or anything else that's for your class. You can track the buffs. You can see how much mana you restored throughout the game. If you want to see how powerful Mana Tide is or Divine Plea is, you can check your mana restored, even though it's bugged currently for like a month. Kind of ridiculous. And then, of course, the standard. The healing done, the healing taken, overhealing, HPS, the damage done, all that good stuff. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what Details does. This is the main way to determine the impact of skills and just your overall performance throughout that game. So, without Details, I mean, it'd be much harder to kind of determine who's doing what, and of course, what build is making the most impact in this scenario. So, you can see here, it's tracking all my healing done, my HPS, See here, hey, Whispering Waves is actually pretty high. That's how I know Whispering Waves is good, as an example. So, really good stuff. Details is absolutely amazing. Without Details, I mean, PvP in PvE would be a lot different in terms of how people decide builds and skills and player performances. So be glad we have Details. Already talking about Mask. Nameplate cooldowns is absolutely amazing. This simply just puts the enemy cooldowns above their nameplates. So you can use Omnibar. Omnibar tracks enemy cooldowns as well, just on a bar. So you can move it wherever you want. You have it set in the center of your screen, to the left, wherever you want to see it, wherever it's going to be most visible to you. I just like having the nameplate cooldowns because I'm always looking at the center of my screen anyway. That's where these nameplates are going to be at. So, yeah. We can see here it's tracking their trinket, the interrupt, and their stun, and many other things. If I want to disable things that it tracks, I can do that. If I want to enable certain things I want to see tracked, like certain knockoffs or knockbacks or other utility spells that it might have, then I can always enable those. But yeah, basically just tracks their cooldowns, which is really good. So, for Battlegrounds, it can get pretty hectic and get pretty cluttered, but I've used it for so long that I can kind of see what I need to see in the least amount of time possible. So, nameplate cooldowns is a big plus from BigTuna. What else we got? Narcissist has no effect. This is simply just how I make my thumbnails. Don't need to talk about that. OmniCD is a party cooldown tracker, so this tracks my party's cooldowns, which is absolutely important for a healer. This is absolutely amazing. Obviously, as a healer, it's your job to conduct the team defensively and let them know what needs to happen for your defensive plays. And it's really hard to do that if you can't see or you don't know what exactly defensive or utilities they have available at that moment. So let me see if I can test this real quick. Yeah, so you see here, You see here, it's tracking some things. It's tracking my trinket, my defensives, like my Astral Shift, Healing Tide, Earthen, and whatnot. It's also tracking my utility, like my Tremor Totem, my Grind Totem. Anything else I might be taking will be tracked here. For example, if I want to check teams interrupts, I can also, put that on there as well, or other utility items I might have. But yeah, this is your main way to kind of determine and instruct a team, what needs to happen defensively. If I see that my Paladin has Sank available, then I'm going to tell him, hey, you're going to Sank my next stun from whoever, whatever stun it might be. But hey, you're just going to Sank my next stun. I know he has it, so I'm going to tell him what needs to happen. If I see that, my Demon Hunter has Trinket and Darkness, okay, cool. Next time I'm stunned, we're going to have to Trinket Dark to save, our other teammate. So just makes instructing your team much easier to instruct them how you want defensive plays to happen when you can see what they have available. sArena is my Arena Frame add-on. You can use Gladius. Both of them are good. Really not much difference between them. sArena, these are my Arena Frames here. You see the Trinket, the Racial, Cast Bar, their normal Arena Bar, and then their DRs. Anything they may have active on them currently will be shown on their bar here. So, yeah. Nothing really too much to talk about when it comes to Arena Frames. Has all the stuff you need. You can simply change how you want the size to be, the font, spacing, whatever you want, all up to you. But yeah, having nice Arena Frames is definitely the key to getting better, because these are going to be the things that you're going to be looking at a lot, because you need to see what they're casting, you need to track their DRs, and that just kind of determines how you want things to happen. Again, if you don't want to just stun when this guy is triple DR'd, so you want to see, okay, is he off DR? Okay, he's coming off stun DR in 5 seconds. Cool, I'm going to stun him off that. You can probably hear me say that a lot in my Battleground videos. So, yeah, really good, really important to make sure you have good Arena Frames. Because remember, information is what wins games, and if you don't know what's going on, you can't really make the decisions you need in order to win the game. True stat values simply just shows you a bit more information about your stats. I didn't actually know this was a thing until Shadowlands, which is kind of ridiculous. I didn't even know there were penalties in the game. Kind of ridiculous that, that a pretty impactful thing, aka penalties for stats, is not baseline shown in as a standard Blizzard UI. You need an add-on for it. It's kind of ridiculous if you ask me. But yeah, this will just kind of accurately show you what exactly stats you have. So you see here, I don't have any penalty currently. This will show me my loss rating if I am going over the penalty. This will show me the loss rating I have, what my true rating is. So, really, really nice add-on. Just kind of more accurately shows you what your stats are. WeakAuras, we all know what WeakAuras are. WeakAuras are amazing. WeakAuras are the bread and butter of life when it comes to PvP and PvE. WeakAuras determine just kind of how easy it can be to track a lot of buffs. Obviously, WoW is pretty insane when it comes to how many buffs you need to track, how many buffs you need to keep uptime on. And so, looking up here in your buff window over here is not going to do you any good. So you need WeakAuras to kind of track most of that stuff. Some classes have it much easier than others. Like, for example, Resto Shaman, I don't really need to track a whole lot of stuff. You see here, this is just something it's literally just something I just randomly made. This tracks my ancestors that I have out currently. So, you see here, I have 3 ancestors. That just lets me know, hey, I'm going to get a lot of ancestor healing because I have 3 ancestors. So just little nice bit of tracking there. Precognition, whenever I get precog, this will show up. It'll also make a little zap sound whenever I successfully get precog. Sky Fury Shaman buff reminder. If I don't have my Sky Fury up, it'll kind of look like this. Stop being trash or best Sky Fury. There's a lot of buffs in the game, and you're going to have to track them. So, yeah, Sauron. Nice. You're going to have to track them, and WeakAuras is the life of that. So, WeakAuras are our friend. Last but not least, we have weizPvP. Don't know why it's not working currently, but this is probably the add-on I get asked a lot. I'll just kind of show a screenshot of it. It's basically just a big crosshair that is displayed on the target I'm targeting. Makes it a lot easier to see the target I am targeting, especially when there's a lot of cluster, and a lot of players in a single area. Pretty taxing though, even for the crosshair, because it's it's a pretty insane image, but also because it's the World PvP add-on, so I only use it for the crosshair. But obviously all the other stuff remains as well for the World PvP aspect of it. Yeah, weizPvP, giant crosshair, allows you to see what you're targeting more. But yeah, that is about all my add-ons. If you have any questions about my add-ons, any more questions about my add-ons, and I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Hopefully you guys download some add-ons for yourselves, and hopefully I see you guys tune in for the next video. Alright, peace!